Well, let's hear now from the Alberta Finance Minister, Nate Horner. Minister Horner, thanks for making time for us.
Yeah, no problem. Good to be with you, Andrew.
So we have the federal finance minister, Chrystia Freeland, coming out of this meeting saying she wants the chief actuary to analyze the CPP asset transfers and estimate the numbers based on what she's calling a reasonable interpretation of the law. Now, you and Premier Danielle Smith have said you want a hard number from the federal government. Does this meet your demand?
Well, we're pleased that the federal government has agreed to involve the chief actuary, and we look forward to hearing what they come up with and seeing their analysis. That's been part of the frustration to this point. They've criticized the LifeWorks, formerly Morneau-Chappelle report that the Alberta government commissioned, but haven't gave us anything substantial. So I think we're pleased that they've agreed to that now, and so we look forward to seeing what the chief actuary thinks and comes up with.
Now, that LifeWorks report, of course, had given the $334 billion figure, about 53% of current CPP assets. And as you know, there have been arguments that the number should actually be closer to 15 or 16%. So today, is $334 billion still your government's working number on this?
Well, it's the report's number. We commissioned the report. I'm not an actuary or a lawyer. I actually had to correct Minister Freeland in our meeting today. She was saying that this was our formula. I had to correct her. No, it's very much theirs. It's in the CPP Act. There's been a withdrawal formula since inception in 1966. It was updated in 1997 when the plan changed from a pay-as-you-go plan to a modified pay-as-you-go plan. And then actually this Liberal government changed it again in 2017. When they added the additional benefits.
So Ms. Freeland is also saying that if you were to leave the CPP, that you'd be having to negotiate some complex and time-consuming agreements with the CPP, with the Quebec pension plan, and as well with foreign governments. So what's your answer to that argument that you're getting from the federal government on this?
Well, I would ask them, they don't think Alberta's capable of that. There's 39 agreements with the QPP. There's 60 with the Canadian pension plan. I don't see that as a barrier in any way. It's work that would need to be done, but we would have to pursue for full portability, just like the QPP. So I don't see that as a barrier.
Okay, and you mentioned some of the exchanges you had with Chrystia Freeland. So I guess I want to ask you more about the tone today, because this meeting, of course, is a direct response to a potential Alberta pension plan. It was the Ontario Finance Minister who pushed for these talks. So as you were on this call today, was it essentially 13 against 1 on this call?
No, I don't think so. I'd say I fully intended to hear everyone out. There was a lot of, we would sure like Alberta to stay, and I think that's to be expected for sure. But there was also, a real acknowledgement of, other frustrations. I'd say primarily the carbon tax. That had to be brought up by over half of the finance ministers in the meeting, but definitely a refusal to discuss it in any way.
Okay, so what was the message you heard from the finance minister? She did get asked about this in her news conference. So when these changes to carbon pricing were brought up today, what did you hear back?
Well, she was clear that this was a special meeting and that couldn't be discussed. So I asked the minister from Ontario, I said, well, seeing as how you get such a quick response, would you mind sending her a letter on the carbon tax, and maybe we could have one next week? But I think we'll look forward to discussing this hopefully soon. We made it clear that it is the most urgent issue across the country, especially coming into winter. But yeah, it definitely fell on deaf ears today.
Okay, now just going back to the pension discussion then, your government has tabled its bill on the referendum process for leaving the Canada Pension Plan and what that would look like. The bill does not say, however, that the referendum result would have to be binding on the government. Why not?
It doesn't get into the referendum process at all. It just refers back to the Referendum Act. It says basically four things: that if Alberta was to pursue this, that it would require a referendum. It doesn't get into any referendum details. That would be up to the government of the day. It says that the benefits would have to be the same or better. The contribution rate would have to be the same or lower. And it makes clear that any asset transfer could only be used for an Alberta pension plan.
Okay, final question then for you, Minister. I did speak with Premier Smith on the program earlier this week, and she said, look, we're not sure yet if Albertans have an appetite for this. So when it comes to a referendum, what is the specific, detailed level of public support that you would need to say, yes, we are going to move ahead with a referendum on a pension plan?
Well, it would have to be clear to us that there was support for it. So, we have an engagement panel out right now led by former Minister Jim Denning. We're expecting a what have we heard document from him. There's over 70,000 submissions on the website, so there'll be lots of data them all over. But no one wants to proceed without the support of Albertans, and the Premier's made clear we wouldn't proceed without clarity on the numbers either. So,
okay, Alberta Finance Minister Nate Horner, thanks for your time on this.
Thank you very much.